I will now speak to you about the Torah portion. Over the past 2 weeks, our congregation has been learning about the course of Jewish ethical study called Musar. Musar means correction or instruction. Thank you, that was necessary. Okay, it refers to a spiritual perspective and also to a discipline of transformative practices. Popularized in Lithuania during the second half of the 1800s by Rabbi Yisrael Lipkin Salanter, one of the purposes of Musar is to help each of us move in the direction of shleimut, which means wholeness. Musar holds that the values we seek to practice in this life are known to us already. We don't need to look for them outside of us and bring them in. We need to pay closer attention so that we can recognize them within our own inner wisdom. One book of Musar famously teaches that no one will learn anything new within its covers. Every value or piece of advice is already obvious to everyone. The purpose of the book is not to educate, but to remind us of what we already know, but often forget to practice. 2 weeks ago, we reminded ourselves about the values of humility, patience, and gratitude. Last week, we explored compassion, order, and equanimity. Thank you for remembering that, Brian. That makes me so happy. By the time we reach the Shabbat before Slichot, our community's first public observance of the upcoming High Holy Days, we will have learned about all 24 traits in the Musar curriculum. Yes. This week, we will discuss honor, simplicity, and enthusiasm. Earlier, I read to you God's instructions to the Israelites before crossing into the Promised Land. Specifically, if, after you have entered the land that your God has assigned to you and taken possession of it and settled in it, if you decide, I will set a king over me, as do all the nations about me, you shall be free to set a king over yourself, one chosen by your God. The text goes on to say, be sure to set as a king over yourself one of your own people. You must not set one who is unknown over you, one who is not your fellow. Moreover, he shall not keep many horses, or send many people back to Egypt to add to his horses, since Adonai has warned you, you must not go back that way again. And he shall not have many wives, lest his heart go astray, nor shall he amass silver and gold to excess. When he is seated on his royal throne, he shall have a copy of this teaching written for him on a scroll by the Levitical priests. Let it remain with him, and let him read it all the days of his life, so that he may learn to revere his God, to observe faithfully every word of this teaching, as well as these laws. Thus, he will not act haughtily toward his fellows, or deviate from the instruction to the right or left, to the end that he and his descendants may reign long in the midst of Israel. In this passage, we see the value of the traits we are discussing today: honor, simplicity, and enthusiasm. Honor is a tough nut. Our sages ask us, who is worthy of honor? The one who treats others with honor. We're also taught the desire for honor removes a man from this world. We must seek both to be honorable by honoring others, as well as to avoid seeking honor. Okay? It's a question of ego. Our poor egos desire respect and honor. This is natural. What we have to watch out for is when our egos urge us to grab at all the honor we can find before we're left with nothing. If we can calm our egos and quiet our desperation for respect and honor, then we are free to show others the honor that we too desire. Actively seeking honor leads us astray, while seeking to honor the contributions of others models the honor that we're due. The text from Shoftim, from this week's Parsha, indicates that God approves of the Israelites' desire to set a king over themselves, to have the same honor as the surrounding peoples. But there are stipulations. The king must be God's choice, and there will be requirements placed upon him. Requirements for simplicity and enthusiasm. The amount of horses, gold and silver, and wives. It's my favorite one. God warns that the king should not be led astray by excess. The king should not become haughty, since it is God who is giving the king the honor of ruling. What about enthusiasm? The king shall have a copy of this teaching, written for him on a scroll by the Levitical priests. It's not enough for the king to reign. The king must rule with energy and enthusiasm. The 16th century Musar classic, Orchot Sarakim, teaches us that the trait of zeal is the foundation of all traits. This is a favorite of mine because I'm a fan of enthusiasm. It is an ornament to all the other traits, and it perfects all of them. Okay, if you honor your fellow, good. If you rush to honor her, all the better. If you are going to perform a kindness for someone, best to do it quickly and with a full heart. If you are going to study Torah, keep a copy of it always at your elbow so you can dive into it at any moment. If you are going to rule, make sure you jump to be the first one following the rules of law. Honor, simplicity, and enthusiasm. My prayer for us this week is that we can focus on one of these traits this week. I suggest picking the one that feels the hardest to you, simplicity. Let's check in next week and see what we noticed. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.